Now, next we have with us Ms. Manu Rawat. Ms. Rawat has 12 years of experience providing creative solutions through human-centered design thinking to clients globally. Key focus areas include researching and analyzing changing workforce dynamics, developing workforce and talent solutions, and launching programs to maximize the human potential in organizations. Functional expertise in IT, supply chain, and finance. Industry expertise in technology, consumer, aviation, and pharma companies for talent and workforce-related strategies. Ma'am would be delivering the session on realities of the new world of work and skills you need to be successful. Over to you, ma'am.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for the introduction, Soumya. I'm going to share my screen.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
Perfect.
Yes.
Thank you. That was a great session. I heard the last 10 minutes odd of it, what Ms. Rashmi Agarwal was talking about. And I think my session might be a good segue. So today I want to cover three main objectives. I want to start with a macro view of the new world of work and what it means for you. So when I say a macro view, I mean, we'll talk about it at a very high level. I'm sure all of you are reading articles, looking at media, watching news, looking at different news articles and reading about how not only AI automation technology is revolutionizing the way that we work, but also how certain aspects of, given this pandemic, the world of work might change in next couple of years or more. But what I do want to focus on is a little bit around what it means for you. Next 2 years are going to be when you're going to be focusing on the studies. And after that, you're going to start looking at your careers and the next job. So how does the macro view of the world today and in the next 2 years will have an impact or affect you, and what should you think about? Because then I want to talk about some real life stories. Obviously, they're all personal to me, they're my stories, but I want to provide you with a point of view around what I faced and what I did and how I created certain principles that I live by in order to be a effective professional. I don't think I can call myself successful, but in order to be an effective professional. And lastly, I want to focus on core skills that I think that you will need in future. Again, they're all based on my experiences, but those skills might be different when you do. And I really like the term that Ms. Rashmi Agarwal also used. She said, you have to introspect, you have to reflect, and then you have to figure it out on your own. So the principles and the core skills I'll talk about are based on my experiences and my reflection. But that's exactly what you have to do in the next 2 years. You have to figure it out on your own. So those are the three objectives that we have for the session today. Like I said, any questions, feel free to ping Soumya, and anytime we can take a pause and talk about the questions as well. And if you want me to cover anything else, you can ping that as well to Soumya.
Absolutely, ma'am.
Perfect. Okay. So let's start with the first objective, what's future of work and you. And since I'm in Deloitte, I will share a video which Deloitte has created. What I want you to do is listen to the video and listen to what are the key realities of work that they're talking about. The caveat is that this is a 2-year-old video. But what you will see is that it's still relevant today. It's not that different, even though we know that the world is moving at the fastest pace as possible. But I still want you to listen and reflect a little bit. It's a 3-minute video, but it will go really quick. So I'm going to start playing it. If you don't hear the sound, Soumya, just ping me.
Okay, ma'am.
Hear the sounds?
Yeah, so where you have all the options of security participants. Yes, ma'am.
Everyone's talking about the future of work, and a lot of what they're saying is disturbing. Robots are taking over all manual labor. AI will replace all kinds of white-collar jobs. And humans will be contingent labor, scavenging for the limited work remaining. Yeah, pretty alarming. At Deloitte, we don't see things that way. The future of work is this. That's right, people. People empowered to do what we do best. Thinking creatively, using our emotional intelligence, making value judgments, communicating, teaching, sharing wisdom. Our human capital teams are plugged into worldwide developments and trends, and we see 5 clear realities we can all act upon right now. Reality 1. Everything is on the table. 57% of jobs globally are highly vulnerable to automation. Work, workers, workplaces, they're all going to change dramatically within the next 7 years. Why now? Because a number of factors have brought us to a tipping point. The world of work will change as radically as the world of personal communication began changing 10 years ago. Do you remember questions like these? So change is coming, and to make the most of it, we need to open our minds. Reality 2. Technology learns faster than we can. Amazon uses robots to select, stack, package, and ship items with almost no human intervention. We already know technology learns far faster than we can, but it's also true that it has changed our personal lives more than the way we work. That's good news, because as technology changes the world of work, we'll already be familiar with many of its advances. Reality 3. The new workforce will be highly diverse. 70% of business leaders believe they need a new mix of talent and skills in the future. We've been writing about the open talent economy for years. Well, today, it's here. Traditional employees will increasingly be joined by contractors, freelancers, and crowdsourced talent, as well as robots and AI applications. Office parties will never be the same again. Reality 4. Work to learn, not learn to work. The average half-life of a learned business competency has dropped from 30 years in 1984 to 5 years in 2014, and is still dropping. As routine work is automated, we'll be able to focus more on truly human skills. We'll have careers built around learning instead of careers built around jobs. Reality 5. Public policy needs to catch up. By 2020, more than 75% of the S&P 500 will be companies that we have not heard of yet. All this change will happen while the government still struggles to come to grips with it, but we can't wait for them. It will be up to our leaders in business and society to help drive public policy and bring everyone along. With these 5 new realities in mind, Deloitte is working with organizations around the world to help them recalibrate talent, technology, and workplaces. So while everything will change, we have the framework that can help you understand how to make it work best for you. Above all, we know what the future of work is really all about. Us. So let's get to work.
Okay. I hope everybody heard that and understood that video. Again, I really wish that some of you took notes, and if you have any questions, you can ping it to Soumya. But what I want to also hear from you is, what does this all mean? What are these 5 new realities? How do they translate for you? Does anybody have any thoughts? High level, if you can ping Soumya, that'll be great. Any thoughts? And Soumya, let me know if you get any pings.
One student is saying skill-oriented jobs will be out by future.
Skill-oriented jobs will be out by future. Okay, interesting. That's an interesting thought. What else?
AI, ML will be used. Learning is a continuous process. AI and ML will be used in every sector.
AI and machine learning will be used in every sector. Yes, absolutely. Does all of this these new realities that you're listening and hearing about, do they make you anxious? Do they make you worrisome? Are you concerned? Yes, no?
Ma'am, one student is asking, what skills or knowledge will be demanded highly in future?
So that's a very good question, because that's something that I wanted to talk about a little bit today. When you say skills and knowledge, what do we mean? Do we mean the technical skills? Do we mean skills that are innately human? So for example, the first thing that I wanted to mention when you see the video is that the first like 10 seconds is very depressing. It shows people are looking for jobs because robots have taken the jobs. What media is doing is they're depicting automation and AI and machine learning to be this kind of to bring a robot apocalypse, if you may say, that they will take the jobs. They will start doing the jobs. What will be left for us? But the fact of the matter is, revolutions from agriculture to industrial to now AI, these revolutions have been going on for thousands of years. And every time a new revolution happens, human beings question what is their value, what is their worth going to be. But what we have to understand is AI at the moment can only automate repetitive tasks. It can only do or process information based on the data that we feed into it. It doesn't have consciousness. That those are innately human, emotional intelligence, creativity. Those aspects are not in the AI domain, at least yet. And we don't even know if for next 50 years if it's going to be something that they would be able to develop, or we will be able to develop that. So if AI can only do repetitive tasks, it means that we are pushing all of the boring stuff to be done by them. If a few of you have had work experience, then you know that in your last tenure and in your last job, there were certain aspects of boring, repetitive tasks that you had to do. Maybe it was copy pasting thousands of rows of Excel sheet into a new Excel, right? Those repetitive tasks can be done easily by AI. So it frees up your capacity as an individual to do other things, other more strategic things. That is what AI is helping in the world do today. Yes, it means that some of the jobs that are doing repetitive tasks right now might change, might be replaced even, but we know, given the last 15 years, that new jobs are being conceived because of AI and because of automation, because of machine learning. 15 years ago, there were no jobs such as gaming historian. There is a job today known as gaming historian in the world. People are recruiting those jobs. Employers are looking for gaming historians, and people are gaining skill sets in that. SEO specialists, search engine optimization specialists, those are the new roles. Data scientists, it's like a hot topic today. Every employer that you speak to, they're looking for data scientists, people who can deal with big data, but you don't have talent to do that today. Social media manager. Social media manager is another job that did not exist 15 years back. Podcast producer. All of these all of these jobs are the ones that have only started coming up, mushrooming in last 10 to 15 years as we are seeing technology revolution. And this will continue to happen in next 15 to 20 years because technology is outpacing the way that we can create new jobs and think about new jobs and think about new skill sets. So next 15 years, you might have drone operators needed in Flipkart and Amazon instead of the delivery boys. So knowing that new jobs are being conceived in as fast as we can think about it, human skills will gain significance. My focus today will be to talk about those human skills. So somebody asked the question, what are the skills and knowledge that are going to gain, that are going to be in demand? No one can predict because we don't know what jobs will come up in future. But what we can predict is certain human core skills that I'm calling it in this session will gain significance, are gaining significance already, and will continue to gain significance that you need to focus on for in your next 2 years and in your career nonetheless, because those skills, frankly, have not changed in the last 15 years. And then the last point, given this video, and I don't know how many of you caught it, but you will have to continuously learn, unlearn, and relearn, whatever it might be, whatever skill it might be. If we have some engineers and coders here, R, Python, new languages that have just come up in the last 5 years. Java, C, C++ are still are still present, are still being, your coding programs and that, but you're still looking at new R's and Pythons, and other data scientists are using some other statistical modeling that will come up. So in your field itself, I'm talking about IT because that's the one that's really outpacing itself, but in other fields as well. In marketing, there might be something else. Social media manager, when I talked about it, that's a marketing, digital marketing is what is in focus right now. Mainline print media, all of that is still needed, but people are moving towards social media. And the pandemic has just made us realize that that's what is going to be more in focus in future as well, because we don't know when things will be normal again. So having said that, again, as I'm talking and as I'm giving you any kind of background about all of these things, I want you to keep pinging Soumya, please, because frankly, if you don't have questions for me, I wouldn't be able to give you the right information in this session today. So please just...
Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, there's a student update, and he is saying companies are also working on emotional intelligence so that they can take particular actions itself.
That's an excellent point, Navdeep. I heard that name correct. So you have actually answered one of the questions that I had for you guys later on in the session, and we're going to cover that. But I'll remember to bring this point back up. But that's an excellent point, Navdeep. Okay, so without spending too much time, and Soumya, again, perfectly, the way that you've been doing, just keep telling me what the students are saying. So my second objective today was to talk a little bit about, provide you with a few real-life stories and some principles. And principles are extremely important. Can I type on chat though? Soumya, will everybody get it?
Yes, ma'am, you can type and everybody can see that message.
Okay. So one thing that I want to mention, if I can, is I'm not able to see the chat.
You have to go to Zoom and then you have to see the controls. So over there, after the participants, there's an icon of chat.
Yes, I see it. Thank you. Alrighty. So this is a book that I'm typing, and I hope everyone can see it. I hope you guys can still hear me.
Students, just a minute. Ma'am is just reconnecting. Students, we are just starting with the session in another 2 minutes due to some technical problem. Ma'am is just rejoining. Meanwhile, you can direct your questions either to Lloyd Business School or to me. Ma'am, you are on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am. Now we can hear you.
I apologize, everyone. I had a power cut in Gurgaon. It's a very common thing if people know a little bit about Gurgaon power cuts, but I hope everyone can see and hear me now.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, excellent. So where did I stop?
Ma'am, when you shared the name of the book, you have to start with objective number 2.
Perfect. So everybody saw the name of the book. Ray Principles is the name of the book by Ray Dalio. And it's an excellent book that helps you understand what are some of the fundamental ways that you need to think about your career and be able to have these principles figured out on your own so that you can not only live your professional life, but also your personal life for that matter. So I don't know if you can still see my screen, but there are some real life stories that now I wanted to share with you. If you remember, I mentioned that when I started, it was peak of recession, 2008 was when I graduated. I have studied from Symbiosis Institute of Symbiosis International University in Pune, did my MBA from there. There was an exchange program for which I went to Leeds Beckett University in UK. During that time, what I learned, and I had already gotten placed, right? So placement happens, the exchange in a year and a half almost. The rest of the year, I spent it in Leeds. Peak of recession again. We did not know what will happen to our jobs when we came back, but I got back and my dream was always to work in manufacturing industry. I really wanted to learn on the shop floor about all of the labor laws and all of the nitty-gritties of human resources. And I came back and I was told that they had rescinded the offer. Basically, I did not have a job after I came back. So that was I would say, the most frustrating time of my life. It was it was a reality. That time, that was a reality that I and many other students were facing, because a lot of organizations were not recruiting. It was a hard economic situation at that time. So for 6 months after I came back from Leeds, I was looking for a job. I was angry. I basically felt that this is unfair. I had worked hard during my MBA. I had got good grades, but it wasn't working for me. But very soon, after I would say months of being frustrated and being angry at everybody else but myself, I realized that that's not going to take me anywhere. And that's why I started basically pounding every door that I could, every reference that I could, everyone in LinkedIn that I could, and pinging and asking, is your firm recruiting? Is your organization recruiting? Here is my resume. Here are the things that I'm good at. And here is why I'm the right person for the job. After 6 months, I got through Deloitte. And I still remember that day. It was 15th of August that I had my first interview. It was Independence Day. All the offices were shut, but because the US team had come down to Deloitte Hyderabad, they were the only ones working because they were not celebrating Independence Day. And they asked me, could you come? So I traveled from the city that I was living in, Pune, to Hyderabad just for the interview, gave the interview. They asked me to come for another round. I did another round with them, and I got through Deloitte at that time. And once I got through, I realized that had I stayed frustrated and had I been angry at everyone, I would not have done what I did, and I would not have sent the hundreds of emails to people from not only my college, my seniors, my everyone that I knew. I wouldn't probably have gotten that opportunity. And people were still interviewing, but when you are straight out of college, people want experience. So all you can think about at that time is just, I want to get into a job, and I'm going to prove to everyone that they took a right decision. And that's what I ended up doing. And that's why I ended up staying for 12 years. I decided that once I got into Deloitte, I will prove it to them that this was the right decision that they made. At that time as well, it was unheard of, 12 years in one company. My generation has always hopped jobs. Today as well, if you think about your peers or colleagues or seniors, everyone hops every 3 to 4 years, or maybe 1 to 2 years even. But I stayed, and I wanted to make sure that I am completely dedicated and a hardworking professional, since they are the ones who gave me that chance, that opportunity. So you tend to become a loyalist. And then what I did is, anytime I was provided with an issue, a situation, a topic, I would make sure that I studied hard about it. I had no idea what was, there was some kind of a system that the client was launching, Sum Total. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. But I was told that Friday, by my, at that time, senior manager, that this is what the client is expecting on Monday from us. Manu, go ahead and think about it. And I had zero idea about what Sum Total is, what does it do, what is the background. So I went back over the weekend, 20 hours through the 2 Saturdays and Sundays, read about it, reflected on it, spoke to all of my engineering friends because they know systems, they know programs, and came back and said, maybe we could do this. This is why we could do this, and this is how it will help the client. And to this day, that senior manager today is a partner in Deloitte in their firm. And to this day, we catch up, sometimes for coffee, sometimes for lunch. And he says, Manu, do you remember that? And I was like, yeah, I do remember it. It was like within 2 months of me joining Deloitte that you put me on that project. I had no idea. And he said, no one did that at that time. And I was like, that doesn't make sense to me, because if you give me a task, I will make sure that I will do the best I can to take it forward. And he said, no. I had asked other people and they said, I don't know, so I don't know. but you just went ahead and did that. And I did not know what he thought about about me at that time. It's only 12 years later that he says, it was a great job that you did. And those are the things that stay with others about you. So I heard someone talk about perception of you yesterday as well. I don't remember who in which session, but those are the things that you have to remember will stay with people you work with. So given these few life stories that I have shared with you from start of my career, I created principles for myself. And these are my principles that I'm sharing with you today. Embrace reality. Yes, there was peak of recession. Yes, there were no jobs, but you cannot be angry and frustrated about it. There will be harsher realities coming your way in the future. When you have become a professional, there will be much, much worse realities that you will face. You cannot lose faith and lose hope. You have to power through. Have clear goals. Once I did get into Deloitte, I was sure that I would be a diligent, hardworking professional. Anything that will be provided to me, anything that will be put in my way, I will make sure that I provide to the best of my abilities, or figure it out with other people. How am I going to work on that issue? Diagnose and solve problems. One of the things that I cannot, not just consulting, but it's true in industry as well, you will be given a different problem every time you go to work. Every day, even the world that we live in, you will have a different problem that nobody else has faced before. You cannot just look for an answer because somebody has done it before you. It will be a different problem, different context, different situation, and you will have to figure it out. Be results oriented. It's not just important to do the task. It's important that there is an outcome, there is a result, there is something that the company that you're working with, the organization that you're working for, or your own company, you're driving results, you're driving outcomes, be it an ROI, be it the value that you're creating. And this is where, Navdeep, I remember you talked about emotional intelligence. Having emotional intelligence is of utmost importance. I cannot stress enough on the fact that being not frustrated easily, don't get offended easily, don't take criticism personally. You will always have all of those kind of aspects that will be thrown at you. You will need to have empathy. You will need to put yourself in others' shoes so that you understand what could be the reason that somebody is reacting in a certain way or behaving in a certain way. And that will help you become a much better person who does good for yourself. It will do good for you if you have emotional intelligence. So there is, cannot stress enough about it. These principles, like I keep saying, Ray Dalio's Principles book, I love what he says is that principles are fundamental truths that serve as the foundations for behavior that gets you what you want out of life. This can be applied again and again to help you achieve your goals. And I can say all these 12 years, from analyst to senior manager, these were the principles that I abide by and that have helped me. So next 2 years, think about your principles. What do you want from your career? Where do you want to go from here? And write them down. I've written them down. And I look at them whenever I'm facing problems or situations or issues. And now, since as a senior manager, I have multiple teams working for me. So if I don't follow these, I can easily get sucked into the complexities of it. So having emotional intelligence definitely helps. I saw a few hand raises. I saw a few chats. Soumya, just checking. Any questions for me? I'll give you a few minutes.
Yes, ma'am. So there's this question from Avinash. He's asking what types of jobs will be created after the pandemic, because lots of people are unemployed due to COVID, which is actually decreasing the unemployment.
So nobody can predict what kind of jobs will come up. Are organizations hiring? Yes, there are a few organizations that are still hiring. What are they looking for? If you go on LinkedIn jobs, what kind of jobs are there? We're not predicting future for 15 years ahead. When I say drone operator, the drone operator doesn't exist today, but it could exist in future. Today, what exists is people or employers who are looking for multiple, I don't want to say multitaskers, but I want to say generalists. Because they want to know if I throw this your way, you can do this. If I throw that your way, you can do that. Technical skills are learnable. What we face problems in, and who am I looking for when I'm interviewing, right? There might be some candidate who comes and who goes on with their technical skills might be, next level. And they might just tell me that I can do X, Y, Z, I can do statistical modeling, I can do financial modeling, and I'll be very impressed. But the moment I ask them to, I give them a business case and I say, well, if this is a situation and this is what the client is asking, what are you going to do? And there is no connect between the knowledge, the depth of knowledge that they have, and the practical application of solving the client's problem. So the core skills that I'm going to walk you through after this would be what you have to focus on. Because the jobs can be, different jobs can come up, but the core skills needed for the jobs would be same. It doesn't matter what job you're in. The technical skills, that will depend on the job. That I cannot, help you with, because an IT coder would need different set of skills than a cancer researcher, than some social media manager who needs to understand what is BTL. So those aspects, the technical aspects, will continue to change. But remember that when I'm employing somebody, I'm always thinking, I can train this guy. I can train this girl in XYZ skill. I can train this person in this program. That's not the problem. Is the attitude there? Does this person want to be trained? Or is the person so strict in their head and so non-malleable in their head that they cannot, be flexible? So that's what I'm looking for. And that's what most of our peers are looking for, the employers are looking for. Technical skills are trainable, so don't worry about them. I saw another raised hand, Soumya. Any other questions?
Yes, ma'am. There's one more question by Rishabh. He's asking which sector will be going on peak during pandemic?
Which sector will be going on?
Peak during pandemics.
Peak.
Peak.
P-E-A-K?
P-E-A-K, right.
So think about how has pandemic affected the employment? How if impacted is IT sector, for example? Do you guys have any thoughts? Someone like a company like Amazon Web Services or Microsoft, they can just give you a laptop and you can work from home. It impacts them in the sense if their client gets impacted, then they get impacted, but their clients are all moving to cloud services. So IT services or IT products, IT would be the least impacted. It doesn't mean everybody will get impacted because the world economy is going to get impacted. But if you think about what kind of work can be done from home, those will be the least impacted. If you think about deliveries that you've been getting from Amazon, right? Pandemic hit, you started shopping on Amazon and Flipkart like anything. Those didn't get impacted. But that's a micro and a macro view that you have to see, and you have to think and read articles about it. Because today we can see that IT did not get impacted that much. Manufacturing did get impacted a lot. But I know of certain firms that are still hiring for social media marketing, for digital marketing, online marketing. So there will be sectors, not industries, but even certain sectors within industries that get impacted a lot and some less. But yeah, this will keep changing. Nobody knows and nobody can predict really well that this is the kind of industry that will just not get impacted and stuff. Pharmaceutical, they still need people. What else? Any other questions for me, Soumya, before we proceed? All right.
Yes, ma'am, there's one more question. What is the scope of human resource department after pandemic?
What is the scope of human resource department? Let's think about it together. What do you guys think is the scope? You still need the human resource, people, talent department, because companies are not laying off all of their employees, right? They still need employees. They still need to rethink that if 70% of my workforce is now going to start working from home, what are the kind of human resource policies and programs that I need to start thinking about so that I can manage and help them manage that work from home better? They still have to do, they still have to do their performance management. They still have to do their compensation and benefits. They still have to do a little bit of hiring and recruiting. They still have to do succession planning. So yes, every department or every function will get impacted, but everything will manifest into a different context given the pandemic. Because of the pandemic, just a little bit of information. I came back from New York in June because the pandemic hit. It did not seem to be the right thing to not be with my family during pandemic. So I came back and I couldn't work from here. And I'm basically in a sort of a leave for a few months until the pandemic is over. But eventually I will have to go back and work from there. But I know when I go back, I will be working from home. I will not be traveling to client side. The clients will not want this kind of a risk to come into their offices at that time because COVID is going to be in the world for a few months, if not years. So every job, be it marketing, be it the way you do sales, I'm sure you guys are still getting calls from banks asking to open credit cards. That did not change. You're still in your Instagram or your Facebook, you're still seeing the ads. So somebody is creating those ads, right? So those kind of jobs will not change. Those will still happen. The only thing is you will see things are moving to more digital, online, platform-based focus. How can you continue to work just in a more offline format is how things will shift. One thing that I wanted to mention before I move on to the next section, and I know I have literally 20 minutes for the next section, so I'm going to be quick. Remember that any job that you take up after this, be it a job or be it your own company that you open, right? You could be an entrepreneur and you can have the entrepreneurial skills, or you enter a job. Remember that there is real money associated with every task and every decision that you make. So let me give you an example. imagine a marketing team, right? Imagine, and I'm going to talk digital because that's where we are seeing the shifts happening as well. Imagine a marketing team, imagine a marketing lead thinking about a campaign. Think about a yogurt brand, think about Instagram, they're thinking of a new flavor, I don't know, coconut flavor, and they have a marketing associate who is working with the brand team and saying, okay, so when is the visual for Instagram going to be ready? And they the brand team tells the marketing associate, XYZ date, you will have it in your folder. You can go and post it on Instagram. So the marketing associate asks the brand team, takes the post and posts it on Instagram. And they're like, awesome, XYZ 1,000 likes. This is a great campaign. 2 months later, the marketing head asked the marketing associate, hey, great campaign that you ran. We're billing the client for that campaign now. Where are the credit card receipts? Because Instagram is charging you for those posts. And the marketing associate forgot to bill the client. All of that is loss of money for this team. And what people don't realize at this time, and I have done these kind of mistakes myself, where I forgot to do one little task in a process, and it resulted in loss of real money to my organization. And what you have to remember is that know each step of the way what you're doing, what tasks you're doing. And that's why when I say results oriented, it's very important to know what are you expected to do, what is the result, what are the process in between, and what are the tasks that you have to check so that you get the result that you're aiming for. And I give this example because I have colleagues and I have friends, and we talk about how the team member did not think about the result of the task that they missed and the vision that they should have had, and they don't have it. And it's not easy, but that's why you have people who you ask questions and collaborate with. So that's one important, again, a real life story that I wanted to mention, and it is a real life story. So somebody did forget, and it resulted in a loss of 20,000 rupees that was not billed to the client by one of my colleagues. So just wanted to put it out there that everything is important. Okay, I know I don't have too much time left with you guys. So we're going to move to objective number 3. Soumya, before I proceed, any other questions that you would like me to answer?
Yes, ma'am. 2 more questions. So Rishabh is asking again in the direction of what is the scope of human resource department. He wants to know the scope of supply chain management during and after pandemic. And the other question is by Kaushal, and he's asking what opportunities are there to grab after pandemic, if there is any.
So I think for both of these, I would say my answer would be very similar. Like I said, that there is a movement towards digital, towards online. Supply chain management there is a physical and a digital aspect both. So the digital aspect comes more on the shop floors, the way that, the best example I know I can take is Amazon, and how Amazon is using robots in its shop floor, but it still has human beings working on certain tasks. So those things would not change because of pandemic, because those are related to the technology aspect and the automation of things. So the new realities of work that we talked about. Anything that has to do with automation and technology during or after pandemic, supply chain management or finance or manufacturing or oil and gas or any other industry, certain things automation is going to drive rather than pandemic driving it. Opportunities after pandemic. So let's not say after pandemic, because we have no idea about pandemic. Spanish flu, and I know that you must have read it. Spanish flu lasted for 3 years, 2 to 3 years. It came in 3 waves. We're in wave 2 in COVID. We don't know what the future holds. So rather than focusing too much on, let me think about what will happen after pandemic, and let's start thinking about what I need to do today, think about what are some of the skills that I need to focus on, given that they haven't changed in these 15 new jobs that have come in last 15 years, or what will come in future. So let me focus on how I develop those skills that, given what job it may be, given what opportunity that come my way, I have the right skill set and I gain the right experiences that I'm more adaptable to any job that comes my way. And that's going to stay true. The work that I was doing as an analyst has changed a bit from the work that I'm doing as senior manager, but not that much. It is still my problem solving, logical thinking, logical reasoning, critical thinking skills that I'm using that I was doing as an analyst. The technical aspects and the problems have changed and the context has changed, but my approach to dealing with them has not. And that's what you have to remember. Don't look at the answers like, what are the jobs? What are the opportunities? What are the technical skills? Because all of that will keep changing. So the foundation has to be strong as you're thinking about the future. Okay, with that, I do want to move to the core skills. And I want to spend a little bit of our time in this. I wanted to spend 30 minutes, but I think I'll end up spending just 10. These are the 6 skill sets that I have seen not change in the last 12 years of my professional life. Effective communication, adaptability, collaboration, problem solving, learning agility, and critical thinking. You must have heard these from other session speakers as well. It might seem repetitive, but I cannot stress enough about the importance of these 6 skills. There will be more. There will be other skills. I heard from the other session speaker before this that time management, prioritization, all of those are important skills. But this list can incorporate some of those as well, I would say. And you can add to this list based on what you believe your principles are and the core skills that you have that are your strengths that you want to focus on. Because maybe problem solving comes like this to you, but adaptability doesn't. So of these core skills, create a list of your own core skills that you have that are your strengths and focus on those and in the next 2 years, so that after the 2 years in your resume, you can say that I'm an effective communicator, not just verbal, not just speaking, not just written, but body language, tone. How are you using your communication skills to make sure that the idea that you have and the problem that is in your head, you're communicating it well to someone who's coming and teaming up with you? Because increasingly, I mean, if you don't have communication skills, it's so difficult for you to even provide the context of what you're trying to explain. So first and foremost, the core skill that you have to focus on is effective communication. The second is adaptability. Adaptability, what I mean by that is change is constant. Pandemic, during, before, automation, technology, industrial revolution 4.0, change is going to be constant. The next 1 year, we have no idea how things are going to change, what jobs are going to come in the forefront. You ask me that question, I look at all of the articles in Harvard Business Review, Financial Times. Look at those articles to figure it out, because I'm also doing the same. You have to be flexible because wherever you go, new work processes, new business models, new ways of working will come into the picture. And if you're not adaptable, if you're not flexible, you're going to face problem adapting to the change. And change, literally, the kind of projects that we do in consulting are all change. You're doing a new business transformation, a new kind of system is coming in, a new way of working on a process is coming in. So change for all employees is going to be constant. So adaptability cannot stress effect. Collaboration. Workplaces are increasingly getting out of silos. It doesn't mean if you're in marketing that you're only going to work with marketing, maybe some salespeople. No, you need to have a friend in finance, you need to know someone in operations, you need to have a good viewpoint and perspective in order to really come to find a solution that is thrown at your way. People call it teamwork, people call it interpersonal skills, call it whatever you may, have your own list, but remember it's all about how are you working with another person in order to achieve a shared goal. One of the things I wanted to mention in, I'll come back to it, but problem solving, I don't think I need to talk any more about it. Solve a problem that's given your way. Go to the root cause, think about it from all perspectives, and there is a bit of a, I would say, overlap with critical thinking. But problem solving is that you need to build your brand as somebody who's given a problem. You will do all of the due diligence that's needed to come to the solution, and the solution is going to be effective. Solution doesn't just mean that here is the solution. Why is that a solution? What has made you talk about it as a solution to your manager or your team? Learning agility. One thing that I have always grasped from my managers and my mentors and my unofficial kind of coaches in Deloitte and outside is that great leaders are great learners. Think about any leader today, be it Warren Buffett, be it Bill Gates. They all believe in continuous learning. They all keep reading books, they keep meeting, they keep learning even to this day. So learning agility is, and we saw the video as well, and the last bullet that I had there was you have to continuously learn, relearn, learn, unlearn, and relearn. And remember that maybe Rishabh, it was you who said, what kind of opportunities are going to come our way? We don't know. But what we do know is that whatever that opportunity is and whatever the skill that is needed, you are going to be open to learning it, and you're going to be open and you're going to be agile enough that you can make sense of what it is, analyze it, internalize it, and apply it. That's what learning agility is. And last but not the least, critical thinking. And like I was referring to problem solving, take time to evaluate a topic or a situation. Look at all perspectives. Question the assumptions that are made. Don't assume anything. Critical thinking means that I'm assuming that women like pink color more. That's a wrong assumption. I'm assuming that men prefer black color to wear. And that's why this t-shirt that we're marketing has the base color of black. No, those are the wrong assumption that you're making that is going to be not effective, that is not going to help you with the solution or help you solve the problem. So always question any assumptions that are being made and think critically about a situation. But having said that, don't just question for the heck of it. don't question the sky's blue. Is the sky blue? No, there are some facts. So just have a balance. And I have seen my team members do both. So it's something that you have to have a balance for. If there is a fact, use it as a fact. If there is something that you need to question as an assumption, do that as well. And always have a logical reason behind anything that you are proposing. What is the data saying? What is the evidence? Here is what the market is saying. Here is why we should do X, Y, Z, and this is why. This is how it will result in, this will help us with our situation or our problem. So those are the core skills that I wanted to talk about today. As an analyst, I followed these. I kept changing my list as well, frankly speaking, based on the situations I've faced, my experiences. And I'm talking a global setting, right? Because effective communication means that I should be able to talk to somebody who is from Jaunpur or who is from Boston. It shouldn't matter. And that's why all of these things are important. Today, I work with somebody from Yale and Harvard, and I also have worked with people who are from a country that I have never heard of, and I speak with them, and I understand what their background is, and I don't assume, and I don't, you're always curious to know. So you will face such different experiences and situations in your life that if you have these kind of principles that we talked about and these core skills, then you would be up for real success as a professional. Samya, any questions for me?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
I think the concept is now very much clear to students.
Great. I know I have 1 minute left. I want to end the session with this quote. It's my favorite quote. It's something that has helped me in my professional career. Job hopping, networking is not a bad word, but networking for the heck of it, all of those are kind of these elevators to success. I'm not saying job hopping is bad. What I'm saying is don't job hop just for the money. Go to a new job. Think about jobs as ways of getting different experiences that are going to help you gain different skill sets. And of these, principles and of these 6 skill sets, whatever can help you, elevate given whatever your goal in life is, whatever your vision for success is, use those kind of principles and core skills and be a hardworking professional, because ultimately, yes, all of you are smart, right? All of you are smart. That's why you're in this B school. But hardworking is something that is hard work and just making sure that you're not taking a shortcut to success is important. All right, that's all I have.